You're live. Okay, cool. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All
Rock
right,
and roll.
rock and roll. Hello, fellow Galactic listeners. I'm Todd Hoffman, and this is WSTR Galactic Public Access, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 361. We hope you're doing well with everything going on. We want to continue to be a platform that promotes positivity, life, hope, a little Star Wars, and a little aliens today, because we're going across the universe as we look at the 45th anniversary of the movie Alien. We couldn't go on this adventure alone. We have a special guest, a founding member of WSTR, Armand Haddad. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh, it feels like I'm putting on an old pair of shoes, to be honest. I always like putting back on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, we are happy to have you back on. But before we have aliens burst from our chest, let's see what we got here. Miss Heather Allred, how are you?
Doing okay.
Good. Armand, I didn't know you came with balloons, which was fantastic. I love it. I love
bring
it.
the fanfare.
Yeah, little flare. Miss Carla and Mr. Aaron have the night off. So we're gonna bust through this, with
down
face
the
huggers.
fort.
Yeah, we're gonna hold down the fort. Yeah, we got this. So, Heather, could you tease this news though, please?
I would be happy to.
Thank you.
All right. It appears as though I have 3 news items to tease.
Okay.
The first one, ironically, should be the last one, but the first one is more.
Right.
In true Star Wars fashion. Go
Yes. Yes.
The second one is
Uh-huh.
thank you.
Oh. Okay. Got it.
And then the last one, you ask the impossible.
That is why
I
you
don't know
failed.
why that was Italian, but here we are. 'Cause I've got the Italian hand going.
on. Bada bing.
Come on.
Heather, are you Italian? Do you have Italian blood in you?
I don't
You
think
got a little-
so.
Oh, because you do talk with your hands a lot. That's
I
it's
do.
just a quality. It's a quality, yeah. But you're like,
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. Well, thank you for teasing the non-Italian news that was kind of Italian. So,
No.
but yeah,
no
so
questions.
yeah. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. But without further ado, let's get into our main topic. All right. I can't believe this, but it's been 45 years. So for your mathematicians out there, for your calendar math stuff, this means that Alien came out on 1979. The year was 1979. So here's a fun fact. It not only is Alien very influential to other genres, just like Star Wars is, but Star Wars obviously paved the way for more science fiction, more kind of this movie. It went from a B movie, C movie to now A-list movies. And Alien's like, you know what? May 25th, I kind of like that date. And that's when it came out, May 25th, 1979. And again, it was distributed by 20th Century Fox. So they're like, hey, we like the Star Wars. Let's do an Alien movie,
Right,
so
yeah, cool.
the sci-fi branding of that genre really, I mean, it put legitimacy into the ethos as Star Wars became more and more successful, and now studios are looking for that next Star Wars movie. Obviously some people try to copy them, but this Alien movie is very unique in its own right, and that's what makes it special, just like Star Wars makes it special. But the budget was $11 million, so pretty good chunk for 1979 money. And worldwide, well, domestic made 84 mil, and then worldwide 108. So didn't do too well on the international market for 1979 because, well, its genre is horror sci-fi. It's scary. Armand, do you remember seeing Alien? When do you remember seeing Alien? Or
Yeah, I have a
yeah,
few first encounters
okay,
with Alien, and I use
sure,
that phrasing specifically because like there used to be a ride in Disney World called
okay.
Alien First Encounter, and that was my first introduction to Alien. I didn't really know much about Alien. Like
It
I'd
was a
seen
Disney ride.
it was either Disney or Universal, I forget, but for some reason I think it was Disney, but don't
Okay.
quote me on that. It was one of the two parks in Florida. And
Whoa.
I was probably 7 years old, and of course, my dad took me on it. And I remember the ride was like you sit in a chair, and like there's an alien, a xenomorph, set loose in the attraction, and like you can hear like it breathing behind you. You can hear like the breath
Ah,
on your neck. And I was 7, and I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? And
this
I
is
look
the
behind me,
worst.
I'm like, there's a speaker in this chair. That's why. That's how I know it.
Oh,
So like instantly deconstructed what that was all about. But I didn't watch
oh,
the movie Alien until I guess when we did our first Across the Universe 7 years ago for WSTU
wow.
Back When I Started.
Yes,
Because my cousin Pete, who you did a podcast with
I love
not
Pete.
too long
Pete's,
ago, he's
yeah,
a good
I love
guy.
Pete.
He
Yeah,
called me up. He's like, "You want to see Alien?" And I was like, "Yeah." And guess
yeah.
what? I own the quadrilogy on DVD, and we watched all 4 of them in one day.
In one day. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But Alien's pretty
Wow.
awesome. I would say Alien and its sequel Aliens are
Hmm.
probably my favorite. I do have a soft spot for Prometheus personally, but
I do like Prometheus too, but
that's
that's a
my
different. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
different.
that's all I got on how I discovered Alien.
Okay, Heather, have you watched Alien?
No,
Okay. Okay.
I have started it. I have
Uh-huh.
seen, like, I know that it's a movie.
Yeah.
I know Sigourney Weaver.
Yes, yes, that's
I know
good.
there's a scene where she's like freaked out and there's an alien breathing right next to her,
Yes, yes.
That's the second one.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm
yeah.
like, I'm not fluent, but I'm like conversational.
I'll give you this
Rusty
too. Like
conversational.
I give you this, yeah. Like like people Star Wars, they might not know, they might not have seen it, but it's so ingested in
It's
pop
in
culture. It's
yes,
I'm your father, lightsabers. Okay, I got it.
totally.
But like Alien, it's not as prominent, but you kind of know, a
Well,
little bit about it,
but I think the thing about it, which is why it's something like I've not seen before, or dare I say gravitate to, is because of
Right.
how traditionally sci-fi it is with the horror spin. Like if you're not, which
Mm,
is genius, right? But I think growing up, so like I was born in 79 as well, so the movie and I have much in common.
mm.
And I don't
Same
know
age.
why I
Makes
said
sense.
that.
Yeah.
Same age. That's really about it. But like
Are you from
growing
outer
up,
space, Heather?
some days I think that I might be.
Yeah, right.
But no, I think it's interesting, right? Because if you didn't necessarily lean towards sci-fi kind of stuff or whatever, and I mean, I was raised on classic films with my dad. Like that
Yeah.
was my bend. It wasn't necessarily these pop culture-y things. Even Star Wars, I mean, I didn't really watch them until later.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just don't think it was ever an avenue I was going to like naturally go down.
Well, Heather,
Mhm.
have you seen 2001: A Space Odyssey since you've seen the classics growing up?
Hmm.
I have not seen that one because I
Wow.
think it goes back to it being
Science fiction.
like space sci-fi wasn't
Mm. Your
my
thing.
niche.
I
Yeah.
was gonna
It
say,
really
if you've seen
wasn't until
2001, then you've seen Alien 1979. They're practically the same movie,
oh my god.
which Todd and I could talk about.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think what's
So
interesting about I, Armand, you could probably relate. Like these movies, these movies can't be made now.
Um, what do you mean? Like
Well,
actual
because
practical
because like if yeah,
elements?
well, no, not the practical stuff, and I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the pacing. Like
Oh, it's slow.
I love,
The
but that it's refreshing because like if you watch Star Wars: A New Hope, it's slow.
It's slow, but it's still well, guess what? Since I mean, you already know this, Todd. It was
Yeah.
very fast paced for 1977 Star Wars.
Yes.
Very
Right.
fast
Right.
paced.
But like from a modern perspective, it's slow. Like
Yeah.
it's like okay, yeah, and then like at the but like it leaves you with it's so impactful at the end. You're like, this is the greatest movie ever, and it is, it is. But like when you start watching Alien, I mean, it's I would only equate like a modern one like Blade 2049, like Blade Runner
Oh, Blade
2049,
Runner.
like
Yeah.
like this one, but like from a 1979 perspective, it's very slow. It's a very slow, uh, but it's refreshing. Like to me, it's like, oh, okay, we're not going to one crisis after another, even though there are crises. It's not like again,
Dare I
like
say?
yeah, okay,
Um, the pacing was done so on purpose because, like, you have Star Wars where it was the first film to like infuse action with sci-fi. It's like, oh my god,
yes,
sci-fi is
yeah,
awesome. And
right,
Alien has that. Like, if you look at the cover, if you look at the VHS box, like it's
yeah,
very much marketed as, oh, this is an action movie. It's Alien, but it's actually a horror film first and foremost. And that's why
right,
you have those slow paces to build the tension, to create this
yes,
atmospheric
yeah,
experience, this moment of dread. Because like you
mm-hmm.
have this xenomorph, this alien that's like the perfect predator trying to take down these scientists. They're not
Yeah.
even scientists. I would say they're like space oil rig people.
They're minors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like people that aren't well versed with like fighting or defending themselves up against a puma. A puma is set loose in the spacecraft, and it's like
I
they have to.
yes,
watched that.
So that's the whole
yeah.
movie.
That's
So
the whole
I would
movie.
say
Yeah,
I can turn you on to some new movies that have a similar pacing to this. It's
okay,
just they're not like the big blockbuster movies.
but they're not right. This is not like a Fast and Furious, like just like it's all in your face, and
It's about that.
um, right. But I mean, obviously that's a different genre. But you know what I'm saying? Like the movies these days are really more fast paced than what we are
Yeah,
presented in, early cinema of 79 here.
I would agree.
So yeah, but I enjoy it. I mean, it's very like it's just how Star Wars like doesn't explain everything. I think Alien does the same thing. It just like here's a crew, they wake up off a cryo sleep, and so it's like it sets the pace. And one of the things I really love is like the ship, the Nostromo, is its own character, just like the Falcon is its own character. Like
Yeah,
this ship has its own characteristics,
exactly.
So
Because
yeah,
like with the Millennium Falcon, it's like Lucas was the first one to like, okay, let's create a lived-in universe. Let's not have
yes,
sci-fi was like, oh, chrome and sleek and
right,
sleek.
right,
And he's like,
right,
well,
yeah,
let me read Dune and let me do what Dune does and make like this
yes,
like lived-in universe.
mm-hmm.
And then with Alien, it's like what we said with their oil riggers, truck
Yeah,
drivers in space, miners. So like their vehicle represents that because you see all the piping, it's dirty. There's like water
yeah,
coming out.
yeah,
It feels like you're on like an oil rig offshore.
Yes,
But in
it's
space.
just flying. It's just flying in space. It's just
Yeah.
in space. Yeah, yeah. But I think it's
Poor
what's
Heather.
cool.
She's like,
Yeah. Wow.
this is a great movie.
They're
um.
really selling the movie. It's doing
Well,
yeah.
but
I'm just kidding.
like Lucas, and I say same thing with like Ridley Scott here. There's a strong female presence. That again, they're not like, hey, look at me, I'm a woman. It's just she just happened, she's I forget what Ripley's actual like science office. She's not a science officer, she's some trying to think.
Let's find out.
Let's find
It
out.
says it's a warrant officer.
Oh,
If I'm
thank
reading
you.
Well,
Heather, thank you for that. Yes. Yeah. I
Here.
mean,
I can read.
right. Reading's good.
Yeah.
I just like that there's a good mix of the crew and again, I think it's great casting. I think
Oh,
they
I love the cast of this
they-
first film.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
John Hurt. Oh my god, I love John Hurt so much.
he's good, dude.
Yeah. Such
yeah,
classic
so
V for Vendetta, 1984.
yes, yeah. Yeah. So, but it's a well-diverse cast, but they're not totally well known. I mean, Sigourney Weaver at this time too is probably not as popular as she is now, right? But I mean, still, she has very, she holds her own against this kind of macho mining vessel, and I like that. I love that about this film,
Yeah.
So yeah, the other big influence in this film besides Ridley Scott, with this genre, but really it's the Swiss artist of H.R. Geiger, which really just
Let's talk about that.
okay.
I'm glad you're bringing them up because, like,
yeah, please.
The design of the xenomorph,
Which is the alien for our for Heather in the room. Yes,
Oh
a
my
xenomorph.
goodness,
Yeah,
like-
yes.
his work on that creature, like, it embodies so much energy to it, like, because like you're talking about, like, oh, this is a female driven movie. Yes, both in like Ripley, but also
Yes.
Alien as well, because
Hmm.
Alien both embodies feminine energy and also a masculine energy to it,
Hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
because of H.E. Geiger's work.
I mean, you don't have to do too much Googling on H.R. Geiger. Like, his work is just bizarre, but cool. It's like a whole different level. But as soon as you see it, you can see very, very quickly how influential that design is in Alien, and it's just like, okay, you won me over, but yeah, again, less is more here. I think that's what's really great. And you know what, Heather? It's got a cat, Jonesy. When you have a cat, and he's kind of like a pivotal player in the whole mix, man. Like Jonesy, I love that they have a cat in this. And I'm a dog guy. I like Jonesy, but I like Jonesy here,
But here's my problem.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that one movie with Will Smith and his dog, and I've seen the John Wick movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, spoiler alert for a 45-year-old movie. It does not die.
Cat lives.
That's all I ask people.
Yeah.
Humans get killed.
I gotta know.
Cat does not.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, again, it's great that they have like that. I don't know. Again, this is kind of I would say it's a lean movie as far as like visual effects, because again, we're talking about 1979, but there's enough there, but like there is that, again, very similar to Lucas and his direction. I mean, it's the humans that are driving, it's the actors that are driving the film. And I feel like in this space too, it's really this crew, it's them driving it. And the alien just happens to mesh in their world, but it's really more of a character driven movie than a special effects movie, which really works
But it has
very
solid
well.
special effects.
It does, yes. Heather,
Start to
hand brace.
finish, it's a
Yes.
45-year-old movie, but I just have to say,
Yeah.
it's believable. Practical
It-
effects, start to finish. We use models, we use miniatures, we use
Yeah.
fire and water and
Yes.
grime, and I'm sold. I believe every second of it.
Yeah,
If this
I do
was
too.
made today, it would be all CGI and it would look quote better, but it won't feel real. Like dude, there's,
Mhm.
like, when I'm
Preach.
watching the models, I could like reach out and touch it. It
Yeah.
just feels good. That's all.
I support that.
Heather.
Yeah, I was just curious, like I think for me sometimes what's difficult with horror movies is it's like, oh well, the more gore and the more like cut people up horror, but
Yeah.
this from what I know of it, like you were saying, it's really people driven. It's almost like you don't need the sophistication of the special effects if the suspense of the horror gets to play its own role. Would we consider that true for Alien?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, you don't need all that pizzazz or blood to drive. I mean, it could be part of it,
Sure.
but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but like
There's
again,
blood in this movie, by the way, and you barely see any real violence. All the violence is implied and off screen.
Mhm.
yeah.
That makes it worse, in my opinion. 'Cause then you're
Hmm.
left to your imagination. how
Your
you
own
visualize violence.
imagination.
But just like, Home Alone and you hear some creepy noises, it's like you're in this vast ship and
Sure.
the ship is making creaky noises and obviously later down the road they find out, oh, it's an alien, then then it gets even more creepier. But I think the suspense is the unknown, and the creep
Mhm.
factor is just like we're very similar to most movies. We're finding along, like we're not really giving too much ahead of stuff. Like we're finding as soon as the characters find out, we're finding more about the alien as well, which makes it good. Because like sometimes, again, like in movies, they kind of let the audience in before the characters find out, but this is more or less we're really kind of again
We're along for the ride.
we're along for the ride. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, so basically we have the crew's broken up. They find out that they're not where they need to back because they're supposed to be going back to Earth, and they stop short. And they're like, where we at? And so they find out that there's a distress call and that the company wants to have them investigate them. Yeah. And I love the one thing that's very clear is that most of these people are doing this for the money. It's a job. And obviously deep space exploration, it's a little risk, but they want money, and that's all is money. If that's all if the word, what's Princess Leia say?
Money's all you want, money's all you're gonna get. So
That's
anyway.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But basically they go investigate this distress call, and I just love the sequence. It's like super slow. It's just like they're gonna, they gotta get in and get aboard, and
You don't see the alien until really the second act of the movie. Because like the first act, you like, okay, they're in space.
Yep.
And then they get that strange alien signal coming from a planet. They're like, okay, let's go investigate, because that's a good idea. And then they go, and then they find not only alien, but also a crashed alien ship. And that's where H.R. Geiger's artwork comes into play, because like this is like, because when you imagine a spaceship, you look at Star Wars, or the Star Destroyers, or like the Republic or the Rebel Alliance, beeping. Anyways, but like you have like the Rebel Alliance and all of these ships, and then with Alien, it's so organic, all of it. It seems something from like prehistory, like the primordial ooze of the planets, where like
Hmm.
all of life comes out, and it feels like a rock, like coming out of space, an asteroid, but that's a spaceship, and then inside is like all of this advanced architecture is very snake-like and very like underworldly.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about, Todd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then when basically they're exploring, and then they kind of go up on this deck, and there's like this huge dude, like it's like the scale is like he's just like
Semi-canon.
yeah, he's like just like huge, and it's like okay, but then as you approach him, there's something wrong with his chest, and you're like it's like a hole or something. But they basically say, and again, this is a little pretext or a premonition of things to come, but it's like came out from the inside. That's what they kind of look like. It doesn't look like it's a like a laser wound or a bullet wound to him, but that's all you really see. But it's alien. It's just very alien looking.
Everything is alien about it.
Yeah, everything's alien about it.
Like,
So then one of the guys finds like a little latch, and he goes down, and then he's exploring, and basically we see some eggs. And
That's
he's
never a good sign.
No, it's not good. There is a fun fact. There's some like Armand, it's like this blue, it's like a blue laser field, like almost like
the fog machine
type thing.
Yeah.
And I think the fun fact it's somebody. I think it's like let me verify my source here, but I'm pretty sure it was like the Who or something that were experimenting with lasers, and they're like, we're gonna use this.
Oh, for their concerts?
Yes. Yeah, the laser thing was like
that at concerts where like
it was the Who. Yeah, so
over the fog and like
yeah, the blue laser lights were used in the alien ship, were borrowed from the Who. The band was testing out the lasers for their stage show in the sound stage next door.
Huh.
So the Who's like, hey, we got this thing. We're working on these lasers for a rock concert. And they
let me use that for my movie.
Yeah, so basically what it looks like is just like we're used to lasers now, but yeah, it just looks like it almost, and they put a little fog machine. It just looks like it's another layer. And so when he steps his hand in it, it kind of goes through. And so it kind of gives this like protection force field thing, and it's a simple trick. It's a simple trick. It looks great, and so, but then and then again, this is where Armand, you were saying it's implied. They come out and they're like, there's something wrong with him. There's something, like, because basically he sees some movement in the egg, and all of a sudden, and but then we don't see what happened,
Right.
Which I think is great. It just continues to build that suspense. And then here's where, like, if it's like Ripley's like, we are not letting them in. Like, the protocols are, we're not letting them in. This is like a total safety hazard. Like, no. And then the chief science officer, Ash, is like, boop, and lets them in. I think he did say boop. I think when he hit the button, he said boop, and so that's where, again, letting something in from the outside, probably not the best protocols. And that's Ripley's like, why are we doing this? And so they basically take off the spacesuit, and now this one of the guys has a face hugger. And so what a face hugger is everything that you don't want it to be. It's like a big spider thing with a tail, and it's hugging his face. Great. I mean, Again, H.R. Geiger,
Like, also
great,
uh,
great
flying
creature
vagina.
design. What's that? What's
The
that?
fan base calls it a flying vagina.
And why is that?
Well, because okay. So
Yeah.
this is where I was talking about like the female energy and the masculine energy. Is that
Yes.
face huggers on the opposite side, it looks like a vagina. It looks like
Yeah.
it's like on his face. And
Yeah.
also the masculine energy, it's forcefully inserting its seed into its
His
host.
throat. Right.
And that's how
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
alien grows within like it's kind of like a parasite in a way. Where it's like
It is like a
right
parasite.
on
Yeah.
the human body is like an incubator until
Mm.
the alien is ready to be released.
But again, I think this is something that we've seen in nature, but like this is something I think is something that people borrow from this in future movies. Like the hosting part, alien kind of type thing. So anyways, he's on a face hugger, he got the thing, blah blah blah, and so now they're like, well, what are we gonna do? So they try to cut it off. That makes sense, but then it spews this acid blood that literally goes through the bulkhead.
Heather's making a very stank face right now.
I-
See us. Just listening.
You can't see this on the podcast, but that's why you have to come to the live stream. Please.
Gotta come to the live stream to see Heather respond. Yes. No.
Yeah. Yes.
Keep going. You're doing great.
Yeah, great. You're like, I don't know if I'm gonna finish this film.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I think here's the thing about it. It's something that you said. Well, both of you really. Because there's an element of this that feels like, no, this could really happen.
Oh yeah.
It's just
Body
freaking me
horror.
out. Oh. What is that sound?
That is my
We're
smoke
live,
detector?
everybody.
Smoke detector. Everything's fine here.
Okay.
How are you?
How are you?
As long as everything's okay.
Yeah,
Do you need to take the
everything's good.
batteries out?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I'll be back. You guys continue.
All right,
I'll be back.
I'll vamp.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at WSJRmediastudios.com. So live stream.
It just feels like it could happen, Armand.
Yeah, it can happen because like
It
there's
freaks
plenty
me
of stuff
out.
like this in nature. Like you go to other parts of the world. So for example, the Amazon, you can get a tapeworm, and it's
Right.
the same thing as
It's real.
yeah, in your poop. But anyways, like what I like about Alien, and I'm gonna bring this up before Todd gets back. What I like about Alien is that it is a slow burn, and once it burns, oh, that's my favorite genre of horror film, because like you have like the slow build up, and then at the very end, it's like, oh, and I know you don't like horror films, because I think we were talking about that. You're like, I can't do Hereditary, I can't do Midsummer, and I was like, you don't have to do them, but they are good movies.
I might be able to do Midsummer.
It's not as bad. It's
it's the gore piece for me. It's like the Saw movies and like
those aren't gore. Well, Hereditary is gory, but Midsummer not really. There are moments, but it's like it's not like
my preference is more the psychological.
Oh yeah, those are so much better.
Those are I'm a Hitchcock person.
Okay.
So that's I think more where it is. So
yeah, like I would, Alien is kind of like Psycho, because in the first act you have like these space oil riggers, and then once they encounter the alien stuff, it's like, oh, all this, because they're like hauling like mineral ore.
Yeah,
we have to get back to Earth, and that's why they woke up from cryosleep. And then you realize all that stuff they're hauling does not matter. Did not matter at all. Just like with Psycho, because she steals the money from her boss, then she goes to the hotel to hide, and then when she gets killed by Norman Bates, camera pans over to the money. It's like all of that. The MacGuffin
all just
didn't matter.
Okay, it's a valid point there, Armand.
And then with Alien, oh god, it's so good because like I was implying, like the Alien is more of a psychological thriller because like you don't really see the monster much.
Yeah.
It's in the background, it's in the shadows,
Hmm.
and it's kind of like this game of like hide and seek, kind of like a lion or a puma or a panther stalking its prey at night.
Hmm.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. You should watch it, Heather.
All right.
I don't know why you're sleeping on it.
There's just, first off, there's too many movies being made and not enough time.
Well, if you've
Let's
had
just.
all of your life literally to watch this movie.
I have. But gosh darn it, I've seen some other movies. No, yeah, it's just I don't think it's something I would naturally gravitate towards. So it would be on the recommendation of someone or watching it with people,
Yes, yes. And
kind of
that's
a
a
thing. I
better,
don't.
because like I like watching movies by myself, but also the communal experience of watching it with other people is also special as well. And like with a movie like this, I would say it definitely benefits from like other people too.
Yeah.
Watching it with,
Oh,
maybe a
absolutely.
WSTR field trip.
What?
Watch the Alien movies. But I'm surprised you haven't seen 2001: A Space Odyssey. That movie is slow because it was made in the 60s before we even went to the moon, and it accurately depicted space. Isn't that
Yep.
something? But I bring up 2001
Pretty
because, like, I would say that has a major influence on Alien. I know Todd was saying, like, well, Star Wars paved the road. It did. But I think
Mhm.
Alien owes its biggest homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey. Because I
Interesting.
want to bring this up before Todd gets back, because he's gonna take forever to get to this point. But like the big reveal of this film, because like you have the alien. It's like, oh my god, there's an
Sure.
alien loose in the ship. We have to stop it. But the biggest twist is not only is there an external threat, but there's also an internal threat. And it's the same
Mm,
thing with 2001: A Space Odyssey. Is that the chief scientist person that let the people back into the ship after
yep.
one of the people were attacked by the facehugger?
Hmm.
He is an android. Nobody knew he was an android, and he
What?
had orders from Wayland Corp to bring back the xenomorph to create that into a weapon. And they said the crew is expendable. Your main priority is to bring the alien back. And with
Plot
2001,
twist.
HAL 9000, the AI of Discovery 1, the spaceship, same thing. It's like the crew, expendable. What's more important is the number one priority. What's up with these robots, man?
I am telling you, I'm at work and they're talking about AI stuff, and I'm like, nope, I have seen the movies. I know how it works. They're gonna take over. It's
I've
not
seen
worth it.
Terminator. I know what happens.
I'm just that's the one I use as an example. That's so great.
John Connor
Oh,
would not be proud of us right now.
that's right. Oh my
But yeah,
gosh.
like honestly, you should really. I know this is an alien podcast, but like you gotta watch 2001. That's like
Okay.
that's like quintessential, like one of the best films ever made.
That's awesome.
Objectively, one of the
Sure.
best films ever made.
Sure.
It's not a popcorn movie. It's gonna be a slow movie. It's like 3 hours long.
That's fine. I mean, I can do slow movies. I mean, much of the movies I watched with my dad, they were slow burns. Um any yeah, so that is not a
Hey,
problem.
all right.
But
But if you watch 2001: A Space Odyssey and then you watch Alien right after, you'd be like, wait a minute, this is a ripoff.
it's the same thing.
It's like, wait a minute, Force Awakens? This is just horrible.
Didn't I just
What's
see that
happening right
movie?
now?
Oh
But
my
no, it's kind of like an
goodness.
edgier 2001 because like
Sure.
uh like the main setup is like, there's an alien signal, we have to find out what it is, and then they go, then they investigate, then there's hidden agendas in like the group, and then it's like the same thing. I wish Star Wars had a story like this. I'm sure someone listening right now is like, well, actually, it's Marvel
Well, we
comic
can
number 10.
yeah.
Go Dark Horse Comics. Please tell me. I want to read this. Unless you can count Death Troopers, the zombie one that they made.
Oh,
Yeah, totally. Because like there's a derelict Star Destroyer, and like people discover like,
yeah.
whoa, what's happening? And then they go on, and like the crew is all zombies. I have a
Make
soft
it
spot
work.
for zombies. Todd is still not back yet, everybody.
I know. Todd, what is up?
Livestream.wstrmedia.com. But now let me talk about the xenomorph. Because I want to
Okay, let's.
Because like, so that famous scene from Alien where, after the facehugger impregnates John Hurt's character,
Yes.
the alien is ready to be born and busts out of his chest. And like the
Right.
fun fact of that is like the crew, they purposely withheld the special effects from the crew, from the actors. So like their reaction is their genuine reaction of seeing blood.
That's
squirt
so
out of
good.
their chest. Yeah. They're like, oh my god. And like Ridley Scott's like, yes, perfect.
Yes, keep filming.
Keep filming. But yeah, then it grows up to be the xenomorph, the classic alien monster that we've seen. And what's interesting about the design of this character, because like I said, it's very sleek, very feminine, not very masculine. It's very, very it's kind of like a cat almost.
Right.
And what's interesting with the male energy of it is that it has a jaw, and then within the jaw is a retractable tiny mouth that sticks out with
Interesting.
little teeth.
Uh-huh.
And it goes back to what Todd mentioned earlier with H.R. Geiger, because like his artwork is very sexual in nature.
Okay.
Has a lot of Freudian motifs in it.
Sure.
Phallic imagery. And with the alien, since he designed it, also has a little tiny rod that comes out of his mouth. So draw your own conclusions.
Go. So, yeah, I think that's a very interesting piece because again, I haven't seen the totality of the movie, but I've seen like bits of it and what have you, and it does feel like the alien does have a very graceful nature to it and how it moves, and I think that's a fun juxtaposition. Is that the right word? I think so.
Yeah, because like you wouldn't expect that from an alien, because like after this film, there was another alien movie called Predator.
Right.
And huge.
He's a big
jacked humanoid with giant muscles. And I mean, I'm sure you know through pop culture that they made Alien versus Predator films.
I'm
those
aware,
are like
yes.
complete opposites, because like you have the graceful cat-like nature of the xenomorph up against this hulking mass, like almost like the Incredible Hulk. And it's like, who's gonna win? Because like they're both a force to be reckoned with, but like they're total opposites.
Wow.
One's very primal, and then one's like very like, like a hunter, like a human.
Yeah. Huh.
Did we sell you on Alien, Heather?
I mean, it does feel like something I'm gonna need to watch. It's probably something I'm gonna have to do in the daytime, not because of like the scary factor, but just because of the slow moving pace. Because sometimes if I watch slow movies like after a work day, I don't have the same type of like attention span.
Yeah.
And that's a Heather problem. That's not a movie problem.
I love watching films in the early morning.
Like Saturday morning with a cup of coffee watching a movie.
Or you know what I do? and this
What
is
do you
just
do?
me. I wake up at like 6 in the morning and then I watch like a movie, and I have the whole day.
The whole day to yourself.
Yeah, or I love matinees at the movie theater. Oh my
True
god,
story.
you
True story.
go, you get out of the theater. It's like, wow, it's only like 1 p.m.
Yep.
I have the whole day full of energy. I know this is like old man podcast right now. No
Totally
shame.
good.
No shame. I like,
No
going to
shame.
like the late
No
night showings,
judgment.
but it's like, you know what else is nice? Sleeping.
Seriously. Health is important. I
Yeah.
recommend that.
8 hours. Drink your water. Anyways, let's get back onto Alien.
Okay. So small alien bursts out of chest.
Mm-hmm.
Real reactions from the crew,
Yep.
actors, because of the formatting. Then this tiny little alien creature decides to grow up and become an
Yes.
adult
Yes.
and then
That's
wreaks
pretty much
havoc.
it.
Is that the whole movie?
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole movie. It
Great.
becomes like a survival horror, and the crew gets picked off, and of course Sigourney Weaver's character Ripley is the last survivor. Like
Of
every
course.
good horror movie, got the final girl, and Sigourney Weaver becomes the final girl, and she defeats the xenomorph in such a satisfying way. Because like I was
Perfect.
rewatching it, because I was like, I need to rewatch this if I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I got to the end of the movie, and I'm like, wait a minute, how did she kill the alien? And then I remembered, I remember. You want to know? You want a spoiler for a 45-year-old movie?
I can. Yeah, you can spoil it for me for the sake of the
For the
sake of the
show,
podcast.
let's do it. She shoots it out of an airlock.
Oh.
And I'm like, like instant dead.
Yeah.
And then the cherry on top, because like she like harpoons it out, and it kind of gets like stuck on the airlock door, so it's like dangling out in space. And it goes like to like one of the thrusters, and then she turns on the thrusters, and it gets burned in space. So not only did it get suffocated and internal organs blown up,
Right.
and frozen, I was gonna decimated by a jet engine. It was great.
Wow. That's
It was
great.
And for you, she saves the cat.
All right.
And
That's
she
all I
goes into
ask.
cryo sleep as the sole survivor of the Nostromo.
Wow. Does she ever get back to Earth?
Well,
Is it implied?
there's a new movie coming out that takes place in between. This year comes out. Takes place in between this film and the sequel that James Cameron made, Aliens. Takes place
Okay.
right in between.
All right. So then I have to watch it so that I'm prepared for the new movie coming out.
Yes.
Noted.
There you go. It's not too bad.
All right.
It's
Okay.
not too scary.
That's great.
By today's standards, it's not too scary.
Sure.
Like you'll watch it and you'll be like, this isn't scary.
Yeah.
I know we've been spoiled by all the Blumhouse stuff, but yeah, it's not scary. You'll be like,
So
it'll leave you wanting to be like, wow, that was very insightful. I feel
yeah.
so.
So Alien has set up future films. So you've got your podcast, you talk about films all the time.
Yes.
What other alien film do you think has done this type of good suspense sci-fi energy?
I just watched Under the Skin. What's her name? Scarlett Johansson. And
Oh yeah.
oh my
Heard of it.
god. Oh my god, is it so good? It's like 90 minutes, so it's like super short.
Okay.
My perfect runtime for me, in and out. And the beginning of the film, the whole film is like it follows this invasion of the body snatchers type alien.
Sure.
Scarlett Johansson, who's kind of like the honeypot, the beautiful woman, luring men. So little bit of a subversion there because usually it's a commentary on society too, because like it's usually a man luring women, but in this it's a woman luring men to kill them. And then by the end of the film, I kid you not, it turns into this meditation on what it means to be human. And you'll leave like the movie being like, oh my God, this is just absolutely incredible. I went in expecting like a cosmic horror film. And then by the end of it, I'm like, there's a tear in my eye because it's like, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? Todd, to catch you up, I'm talking about Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. Because Heather,
Okay.
we talked about the whole movie, by the way.
Okay, great. Good.
Heather was like, what are some other films that kind of like are similar to this, slow pace?
Yes.
And I was like, well,
Yeah.
I watched Under the Skin recently.
And that's with Scarlett Johansson?
Yes.
Okay.
And oh my
I don't
goodness. So,
Yeah, I haven't seen that film.
Same director as The Zone of Interest that won an Oscar this year for, I believe, sound design. Best
Okay.
international film, I think.
Yeah.
Go check it
Very
out.
good. Awesome. Yeah, I think, but I mean, like, so 10-year-old me, I'm playing Metroid on my NES, and I'm like, it's great. I love Metroid.
I'm a
And
geek.
then,
It's all
and I was like, it's pretty much like a ripoff of Alien. And I'm like, I didn't realize that until I
Metroid.
seen Alien. I was like, oh, and like, what's that?
Samus?
Samus, yeah, Samus. So the main protagonist or whatever, she's a girl. You know, she's in a spacesuit, but you don't find out to the end. So you beat the game. You gotta like, and then she takes off her helmet and she's a girl. You're like, what?
Yeah.
And but there's an alien, the Metroid, and it like sucks your life and all this stuff. But basically, one of the mini bosses is called Ridley.
No way.
So, yes. Yeah. So, and it's like this alien kind of looking thing. And, anyways, the music's creepy. It's just so good. It's like my favorite video game of all time and like really just influenced me. But then it was much later till I'm like, oh, they kind of riffed off of Alien, you know? So, yeah, it's just kind of interesting that like things that you don't know are influences, or you know, like you mentioned this earlier, like George Lucas ripped off of Dune. I mean, like Dune is like he did, but that's fine. It's okay, you know, artistic liberties, but you know, but there's always a source of that inspiration, you know. I mean, it's its own thing, but there's a lot of heavy influences, you know. Another, what's up?
You know what else has a heavy influence from Alien? Which I
What's
didn't
that?
know until I watched Alien, and I was like, hold up. This is Halo.
Oh,
Like, especially Aliens, the sequel. Like, the
Oh.
Space Marines, the ships. I'm like,
Yes.
hold up. This is straight up Halo. And, like,
right.
like
Well,
you with Metroid, like, Halo is
Yeah.
my favorite video game
yes.
series.
Yes.
And then I watch Aliens, and I'm like,
You're like,
Oh,
wait,
hold
this
on.
is yeah. Wait. Right, exactly. Yeah. Another one that is so good, a little bit more modern, but it's called Dead Space. And it's
Oh,
kind of the same thing. You're a miner, you know, engineer, and you go on the ship, and the ship is like creepy and has its own vibe, and you put headphones on, you're gonna be scared and wet in your bed
And what
pretty
about
soon.
your
So
absolute favorite game, Todd? I know
What's
you're
that?
not- Doom.
Doom is basically so Doom, you're a space marine, which is also aliens more or less, but it's still in the same genre. But you open up, you know, they start messing around and they open up a gate to hell, Heather, and bad things happen when you open up gates to hell and like bad monsters come. And yes, so it's the same thing. One of the freakiest things I remember getting the shareware, Armand. This is where it was on a floppy. Put put in and load up like 1 meg of whatever. And they were so ingenious. They basically gave you the first like chapter and they're like, you want to buy more? You got to like do this thing and unlock all the stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, yes.
Please
But
tell the
anyways,
story again. I know you probably say this all the time on the podcast.
Yeah,
Please tell
right.
the story again about how you needed more RAM and all the factories burned down.
Yes. Okay. So, you need memory. You got hard drive and memory, Heather. That's, like that kind of stuff. Now we're talking like terabytes and
Right.
whatever,
I know
like
about computers. I'm not.
I know.
I don't
So
live under a rock.
right. So for Doom, it required a little bit more memory than most standard computers at that time would allow, because it needed that memory to basically, it was very fast paced and needed a little extra memory, right? So at that time I was like, I just needed 4 more megs. So like basically 8 megs of RAM. Now we're talking like,
Whoa.
I know. We're talking solid state drives. We're talking like, most cell phones, most like kids' toys have more than 8 megs of RAM. But back in the day, this was a big deal. And so, of course, I'm like, I have to upgrade my computer. This is like a must. Well, come to find out, I don't know, this is what, 93, 90, I forget when Doom came out, 92, 90, well, early 90s, let's just put it that way. Early 90s. Go store and it's like, like $200. I'm like, back then, I mean, $200 is still a little, it's not anything, but like back in 90s, that was like a lot of money. And I was like,
$1,000.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, why does it cost so much? Anyways, I'm like, I have to have it. So of course I'm shelling out the $200. I mean, it was years later, because the internet wasn't around back then, Heather, as you know, so, but anyways, a big old Chinese factory that basically was the main supplier for all computer RAM had a huge warehouse fire and it all burnt down. So it's a simple economics of supply and demand. And like, there just wasn't a lot out there. And I needed that extra 4 megs. Yeah. It was a crazy time. The early 90s. It was a crazy time. But
it was crazy that something similar happened too during pandemic. Like the chip
yes,
factory like burned down. And
well, yeah. I mean, obviously, like the cars, like everybody's like, let's get these cars out on and they're like, oh no, that's lost in some shipping container and can't, yeah, that was a big debacle too, just like, yeah, it's not leaving port. Those were the days. Yeah. So anyways, that's my fun.
Well, can you get it unstuck? No. What do you mean no?
It's just stuck. But yeah, one of the things I was going to say about Doom is like, it really played, one of the cool things about it is like, not only the sound, which is heavily influenced from Alien, because you would hear these things, but you couldn't see them, and it was only till you got around, you turn a corner and they're right there. You're like, ah! Or, what they did, a pretty simple parlor trick, but when you're gaming at this, they've never done this before. It's like you hit a switch and the lights go out, and then you hit the switch again, the lights are on and they're right there. You're just like, ah! You're screaming and that kind of stuff. And I think like Alien does that so well with the lighting and just the ambiance of the ship, as we talked about earlier. So again, a lot of great influences in sci-fi in this genre in particularly. Kind of older movie, I think it's 2000s, like Event Horizon is another kind of sci-fi black hole kind of type thing. And Black Hole from Disney.
A Disney movie, was it not?
Yes, and you can see that on Disney Plus. So go check it out. I'm waiting for some more black hole kind of cosplay. We need more black hole
cosplay. we're talking about?
We need some Black Hole cosplay, man. They had some cool stuff then, but I don't know. So, anyways, lots like again, I think Star Wars and Alien. There's definitely a connection there where it's just a really big influencer, and Alien and Aliens, which is a sequel. Yeah,
And I was
you know,
telling Heather, there's a new
yeah.
Alien movie that takes place in between Alien and Aliens coming out this year called Alien Romulus.
So, would they
And
call that like a interquel or
it's
between?
it's an alien movie. it's Alien colon an alien story.
No, it is.
No, I'm making a joke.
Oh, okay. Like Star Wars, like a Star Wars story.
Yeah. I like how they stopped doing that. They're like, and we're done.
You know me. And in fact, my boy Armand here made me a shirt because I loved when they did Rogue One anthology, Star Wars anthology, and I was like, I'm digging that. I like that. Cooler name, anthology. And I said, put that on a T-shirt, and Armand did that for me.
That shirt?
Of course, I do, my friend. Yes.
I outgrew mine.
Because you got swole. You got swole. You got swole.
We'll do the Predator handshake when I see you next
year. Yeah, right. So much testosterone. Yeah. So, anyways, that. So now you have. Oh, I do have one other fun fact that. So I went to this car museum, and it's in Volo, Illinois. Okay. Volo. I never. I didn't even know this place existed in Illinois. Whatever. But we were looking to do something fun during spring break, and it's like a car auction museum and a museum. Cool. So you go there. You can buy any car you want, basically. But you have to pay some money. You gotta have money, but it's like kind of like one of those online auction things, and you can look at the cars right there and all that kind of stuff. But the big thing that they have is like it's really a museum about cars and all this stuff. And so walking through it's kind of eclectic. It's got like different rooms, and you go to different stuff. But they have a lot of movie prop cars. One of the cars they have there is an alien buggy, and I've never seen this in Alien. I've never seen this. Alien so I'm like, buggy. Yes, exactly. I was like, they never used a buggy in Alien. They walked to the ship and came back. They never used a buggy. So, Armand, I'm watching it this week for, as a good podcaster, I'm researching. I'm like, all right, I'm watching this. And I'm like, I'm going to find this buggy because it said it was in the film. I've never seen it. And it is. And there it is. It's like, so there's a couple parts where the main one is when they're getting the cooling tanks, when they're trying to they go to that like little drop ship and get the cooling tanks, and they're passing through a couple bays, and in one of the bays is this pristine buggy just sitting right there. Like it's almost like a lunar rover that you would see that NASA used. And it's just like a little buggy. And they have the screen used alien buggy at Volo. So they also have, they also have like Knight Rider. They have Kit. They have the DeLorean from Back to Future. They got the family vacation car, the old station wagon. Yeah. Cool. They got Ecto 1. They got a Ninja Turtles van. There's a lot there to see. So I'm not paid by them, but if you want to go see Volo, you want to see some Batman cars, you want to see they have the TV show one. They have the Tumbler from Dark Knight. Yeah, they got them all.
Wow.
They have a great antique mall too.
VoloCars.com.
And they have the Monster Mobile, which was sick. It was sick. And they have the Beverly Hillbillies car as well.
No way. With all the junk on it?
All the junk on it? I mean, yes. They have it all.
Age right now.
Yeah, I know. They have it all. It's really fascinating. But yeah, it was I've never seen, like, when I saw that and they had a xenomorph there and they had I was like,
That's cool.
I've seen this film a couple times, and I consider myself like I know, I know the movie. I was just like, I've never seen this buggy before, but it's in basically like one of the bays. It's kind of like, Lars's land speeder, and if you miss it, like when Luke's cleaning C-3PO and R2, you can see it for half a second, but it's there.
Oh, the Skyhopper.
Yeah, and the Skyhopper is there as well. Yes, so there's two vehicles in those.
He has that speeder. That's like, a nice speeder, and then he doesn't use it.
Exactly.
Is that like Ben or Uncle Owen's speeder?
That's like
drive it?
Yeah, it's like Uncle Owen's Cadillac. He's like, bro, I've been moisture fireman for a long time. You can't have this thing, man.
Or maybe that's Luke's project speeder.
Right.
Run, but he's like fixing it up.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap this up. Closing thoughts about Alien. Armand, what do you think?
I really like Alien. The Alien franchise is mostly miss, in my opinion, because really Alien and then the sequel Aliens are the good ones, and then Alien 3 I didn't like it. Alien Resurrection is just awful. Prometheus, I personally like it. Alien Covenant, that sucked. But
suck.
I think the key, well, I don't know. I just hope Romulus is good, but the one that started all, Alien, is very important film. In space, no one can hear you scream. It's an incredible movie. Heather, I know you haven't seen it, but you gotta go watch it. Like, it's a classic. Once the aliens do make first contact with humanity, I just hope they don't get offended that we have a horror film called Alien.
Yeah, don't watch this one.
We didn't know. It was wrong.
We didn't know.
And it's wrong
We
now.
don't know.
We all know.
We all know.
Disclaimer. We didn't realize it would be offensive to the people.
Maybe it'll balance it out with Resident Alien, though. So,
or My Friend from Mars, or whatever that.
Or I mean, there's other options.
Yeah.
There's redeeming stuff. But no, I mean, I love Alien. It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's all.
Cool. Heather, have you learned stuff? I've learned
a lot. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think ultimately what it is it is a genre of film that personally I don't know that I would sit down and watch by myself. But if I watched it with a group of people, I feel like that would have been more my jam,
Yes.
So it's just then finding the pocket of time in that moment to watch it and appreciate it for the type of film that it is and the suspense that it creates and what it's set up for, not only the Alien franchise, but other sci-fi films.
Yeah, very, very well said. I think, again, you have to be in the right mindset too, like to watch this film. Yeah, this is not just like, hey, I have like a couple people over, let's just watch Alien. That sounds great. Yeah. Right. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm definitely with you, Armand. I mean, this is definitely a classic. I really do like Aliens as well. I think that's a kind of totally different kind of mindset, but game over, man. Oh man, love that one. But this one is it's slow, it's methodical, the tension is perfect. That's hard to create sometimes in film, but they do it so effortlessly, and I just really love. I mean, Ridley Scott is definitely one of my favorite ones. I mean, again, we mentioned it before, but Blade Runner is like so my jam, and it's very similar to how this pacing is, and I just really like the pacing of this film. And like I said before, the cast, I just like Star Wars, I think it shines on the casting of it, and this cast is so good. They meld really well together. there's some tension, and I just really, really enjoy all that kind of human element more than even the alien element. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Speaking of a
that's
cast, I can't believe we haven't mentioned this, but Ian Holm is in the film. He plays the android. Heather, Bilbo.
Bilbo.
I wish Carla was here because she'd be like, "Oh my god, whoa!"
Wait.
Oh, Bilbo Baggins.
Wait, Ash is Bilbo?
He is Bilbo. He's Ian
Oh
Holm.
my gosh. Now I can see it. Now I can see it. Dude, that blows my mind right now. That's blowing my mind right now.
Yep,
Yeah.
he is the android.
That's how we gotta leave it, because I got my mind blown. Wow. That's great. I now that you say that, now I can see it. But like before, like I didn't see that before. Like, oh my
Carla needs to
gosh.
be here. She'll be like,
It's
my
like, oh my gosh, now I love Alien.
This is my favorite movie now."
Oh man. All right. Well, there you go. Happy 45th anniversary for the movie Alien. You're in our hearts, in our chests, and we're ready to burst out with love.
We really have to do a Prometheus podcast one of these days. Let me tell you.
Okay. Do it. I'm there. I'm there, bro.
All
I'm
right.
there. Yeah, let's do it. All right, Heather, we've teased it. It's now time to deliver the goods. Let's go into news of the week.
Perfect. Well, let's begin with ScreenRant.com.
A very valuable source. I love it.
Sure. So you might listen to the podcast. You might know that we have been covering the Phantom Menace for a little while because, well, celebratory things. But did you know that the Phantom Menace reportedly was Disney Plus's most streamed movie worldwide?
No. That's
So
incredible.
the Phantom Menace is celebrating 25 years since its initial release. It also had a brief return to the theaters, which is exciting. But it topped the star. It was the top Star Wars movie on Disney Plus, with this celebration in mind. So the prequel earned $1.044 billion. That whole prequel trilogy, but the Phantom Menace, it holds a special place in our hearts, right?
Right. That's a movie.
So, though it still suffers from poor reviews, its financial success remains unquestionable. And let's be honest, it's 2024. We're still watching it. We're still loving Queen Amidala's wardrobe. We're loving the double lightsaber. We're loving it all.
That was a big deal back in '98. I remember it. I was 8.
Right?
And
How old were you, Armand?
I was 8.
8. Wow. Just a babe.
That double lightsaber in the trailer popped. Everyone, oh my god! I didn't know that was even possible.
How's that possible? Yeah. So, do you think it's because it's the first movie, so they start with that one, and that's why it's getting so many quote unquote clicks?
I think it's because it's that, and also it's the 25th anniversary. Nostalgia, like, oh, let's go watch the Phantom Menace again.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was the 15-year anniversary where they did in 3D.
Yeah.
Like, let's go to the theater.
Yes.
As I'm sitting in the theater, I'm like, oh no. I don't watch this movie. It's a good movie.
It's the racial stereotypes are heavy, very heavy.
Is that illegal?
Right.
Illegal.
Yeah, the Nemodians. Just
only money.
So the question is still open, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you stream it or did you go to the theater?
Neither.
Neither.
I went to the theater.
Okay.
And yeah. It was fun. It's great. I enjoyed it. I was like, yep,
The bigger doo-doo, Todd.
yeah. Actually, I love Jar Jar now. Boss Nass though, that guy. Misa, yeah. It's like, oh gosh, this guy. He's worse than Jar Jar.
He's like
He's my new, scapegoat. I'm gonna cancel Boss Nass.
I want to say something about Jar Jar.
Yeah.
I genuinely, because like we talked about when you were gone, Todd, we talked about how Alien has this like internal threats, the unsuspecting threats with like Ash. Same thing in 2001 with HAL 9000.
Yes.
Star Wars, the original intent of Jar Jar Binks was he was going to be the unsuspecting villain. He was supposed to be this in the first film, this bumbling idiot, and then by the third film, you realize, oh, he's actually the real danger. He was putting on a show. He's putting on an act. He's the mastermind. And it goes like old ancient storytelling motif of like
the fool
creature, the fool that you don't really suspect, and then by the end, it's like, oh my god, he's actually the real villain.
Yeah,
George Lucas chickened out. I'm saying it. He chickened out.
You're calling out George?
Oh,
wow,
George, you should have stuck with your guns. It would have been the best reveal ever. That's all I'm saying.
Honestly, you're 100% right. But there was so much hate back then. Oh my gosh.
I don't blame him for chickening out.
I know.
But he should have, like, you know what? Screw you.
Well,
yeah.
I have money.
Well, I mean, regardless of what you feel about Jar Jar, it made $1 billion, as Heather said. I mean, you couldn't stop the juggernaut.
Right.
All right, Heather, you had something to say.
Oh, I was just going to say, while we throw George under the bus for chickening out, I think we should move over to dorksideoftheforce.com where we're wishing George a happy 80th birthday.
Perfect. You know what, Heather? You are a constant professional. That was the best segue. Yeah. I can't believe he's 80 years old. We love you, George. I also know where he lives now because, like, Chicago Tribune. Yeah. So now I think I'm going to camp out like every weekend now.
Avenue and Chicago Avenue.
Yeah. I want to be like that documentary thing. Like I just want to be filming downtown and there's George. I want to say George. It's like Jar Jar. I just want to be in George's presence, so.
But we have to remember too that George also brought us, Indiana Jones. So he has done a lot of very amazing things for us. So
George is the best. He is the GOAT.
He is a GOAT. You know what, George? He is the perfect leader. Like, he brings the best out of people and surrounds them with very talented people. And when you do that, you're going to have success. And I love George for that, Yeah. I love that he went he's the true rebel. I mean, he went totally anti-Hollywood. He did not like how Hollywood was making pictures, and with the funding of Star Wars and his merchandising. And I mean, he set so many trends. That's what I can't even, he pushed, Armand, he pushed theaters to do digital. They're like, we're not doing this. And he's like, this is it. We're doing it. And because of Star Wars, now it's like, film is still good, but like, everyone's got, I know, but like, everything's
way more
accessible. The sound systems of the theaters. He pushed all that, no other filmmaker did that. He's like, we gotta, and now those elite things are like just typical movie going, you're gonna go see the new Garfield movie. Guess what? It's gonna be a digital DTS and you're getting all of it. I don't care. It doesn't need it, but you're getting it, but I think that's what is just so fascinating about George, is just like his ability to shift things,
That's
and
why growing up being such a Lucas fanboy and Star Wars fanboy, is that when the films came out, George Lucas like pushed the envelope with each one. Because like
yeah,
with Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, he wanted to do something new to push the technology. Like when he was making the Star Wars films.
yeah.
And I don't want to go down a tangent, but like
What? No.
I don't think Disney's doing that. Other than the what do you call it, the volume. That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
the volume. Yeah.
Yes, Heather.
I can take us down a tangent.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's go down the rabbit.
Let's go. Let's go.
This technology that you speak of,
Hmm.
StarWars.com also speaks of this technology.
Oh, look at she's keeping us on track, Armand. You're a professional here. Yeah.
Phantom Menace, Mr. John Knoll breaks
Oh, I
down
love him.
three
My man.
iconic visual effects from
Mm.
the Phantom Menace.
Mhm.
What? So the renowned visual effects supervisor is going to take us down some exciting memories. So, to put it simply, there is no Phantom Menace without John Knoll. I should probably just
Yeah.
stop reading there,
My
but I
man.
won't. I'll keep going for us. So in 1986, he joined Industrial Light and Magic as a technical assistant, but he cut his teeth and worked his way up on projects and found himself with a career with the Star Wars Special Editions. He worked directly with George Lucas, and clearly all of that paid off.
Hmm.
So he started as a model maker. He embraced the digital visual effects early. He's a co-creator of Photoshop.
That's right.
Coming
Holler.
off of seriously, what?
Yeah.
Coming off of those special editions, Lucas chose him for that visual effects
Mm.
supervisor role for the Phantom Menace. This was along with Dennis Muren and Scott Squires. So motion capture, computer graphic characters, digital sets, backgrounds, you name it, it's in the Phantom Menace. Pretty amazing. On the Zoom call with StarWars.com, Knoll recalls the first big meeting with Lucas for the Phantom Menace, which saw the director going over storyboards and the movie's many heavy effects-heavy sequences.
Yes.
So, the pod race. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So but I love this quote. He said,
Oh, please.
almost every board that we're looking at had something our tools couldn't currently do, whether it was things like very realistic, fully synthetic terrains, whether it was characters with clothing. All the Gungans were wearing clothing, and we didn't have a good cloth simulation tool at this point. We had dense scenes and that dozens of hundreds of characters. I just love that, like, pretty much when George is like, hey, we're going to do this movie and it's going to be great and we're going to have all these things. Like, you, at that time, you couldn't do what they were supposed to do, like with the tools they had. And I think that is the innovation push. Like, George is like, I want to push it even further, because like they got their teeth wet with Jurassic Park, and ILM is used to doing some CGI stuff, but like he's even pushing it more. Like he's basically bringing the system down to its knees and just like, we got to do it, But yeah, let's talk about the pod race. I mean, it's great. The speed is great. It's a 50-minute race movie in the Phantom Menace.
The pod race scene, this always blows my mind. I didn't know this until recently.
Yeah.
You know that scene? It's near the end of the race where you have Sebulba and Anakin racing, and there's an establishing shot where it's like in the distance there are two racers, and like you could see like that mirage that happens.
Yeah.
Sand,
Yes.
you can see, like,
yeah.
a little bit of the reflection.
Yeah.
Picture that.
Uh-huh.
Near the end of the race. I know.
Yep.
We have these movies memorized in our brain.
Absolutely.
That's all CGI. Nothing about that image, what you're seeing, like the two racers going, a little bit of the desert mirage, all of that is CGI.
No models?
No. Everything about it is CGI. Nothing is real. And that just blows my mind because it looks 100% real.
So here's really what it boils down to with Phantom Menace. I mean, we can go through what StarWars.com has. It is George Lucas's train set. He's using a combination of miniatures and computer graphics to make this film. Like even the pod race, the whole stand is a miniature.
And
Like the long shot, they use, they're using Q-tips as the stands. It's like, as the patrons in the stands, it's like, what is this? You know, it's fascinating to me that the amount of models that, you know, like everybody's like, they use too much CGI. I mean, this is a miniature train set that they're just filming a full-blown Hollywood movie, and it's just miniatures, and it's just like, it blows my mind, man.
Yeah, and then the Naboo establishing shot with like the waterfall over the palace.
It's salt.
Yeah.
It's Morton salt that they pour.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's incredible.
That's incredible. C-3PO, it has here. So they kind of a combination of green screen and puppet.
Yep.
Which is, so basically a lot of those, the kind of close-ups, they're using a puppet, and then when he's walking around, it's a dude behind, it's like a mannequin.
Yep. Just kind of moving him around.
It's so crazy. You couldn't tell me any different. That was a droid. You know, it's like, that's a droid.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what I like about the C-3PO, the naked C-3PO, is just like and he even mentions it, like, I don't think the floor is entirely stable. Like, it's just like he's got this kind of almost marionette kind of wiggly thing going on. I just dig it. I really dig it. And it's like, yeah, that's just a dude in a suit controlling a rod puppet, you know? I don't know how they did it. Looks great.
I think that's the thing to remember about this is while the visual effects were like so state of the art for that time with some of the CGI stuff, they also did just really basic, like, let's put a guy in a green suit and just walk a puppet around.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm here, I buy it, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So like just the duality is really cool. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they show Theed. And here's a great shot. They're saying it's like a 48 scale model. Dude, you could not tell me this is a model, man. This looks, I mean, there's this, they have the hangar with like a little blue screen or whatever, and that's where like the tank is shooting when they escape, you know, the hangar or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, it looks, that's a model train set. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of use this little trick for the Death Star run, right? When they do the camera and the model, you know, and it looks like Luke or the X-Wing is flying through the trench. And it's really just a pickup truck with a boom crane going through a model with some explosions, you know, but it looks so real. And here it's the same thing, you know, it's the same thing. So, my fire alarms are going. Yes, my fire alarms are going off again.
Boo.
Oh, boo!
Aaron will take it out in post.
You're right. Sorry, Aaron.
Oh.
Speaking of,
Well,
where is Aaron? Hashtag
let's
weekend.
end this news item with a section of the final quote that he provided.
Perfect.
Where he says, I came out of that experience feeling like nothing's ever going to faze me again. So George threw everything at him. Complex challenges, large scope of work. We've got the methodologies now that can tackle that kind of stuff. And it all seems pretty doable.
And he's not, you know, like, and yeah, he says, I'm not afraid of big projects anymore. I'm sure like that the day one after that first production meeting is like,
he's like,
I have no idea how we're going to do this.
Mhm.
Like, it's almost too big, and I think that's, I mean, again, George is just pushing the envelope, and I just love it, So very good. Is that all the news, Heather?
That's all that I have.
Okay, let us move on to Katina Chat. All right, this is part of the show where we say anything geeky and weird and going in our lives. Armand, what is geeky and weird with you?
Oh boy, I'm always a bad example. But Doctor
But
Who just started back up. I think it was last week, and now it's streaming exclusively on Disney Plus because Disney is now
wow,
co-financing the series.
really
Yes,
fascinating.
now it has
So
Will Smith.
it's still BBC basically, but
BBC and Disney partnership.
but the new season's exclusively on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever. It's awesome. I feel it's. I don't know, Heather, if you watch Doctor Who, but it's
I have
pretty-
seen Doctor Who, but I'm
it's
not
great.
a regular watcher.
They're doing a soft reboot. Anybody can jump into it now on DisneyPlus.com.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my main thing. Other than that, got Furiosa coming out next week. The Mad Max prequel.
Oh yeah, I heard she doesn't speak a lot of lines. That's fine.
Just have to
I
find-
Yeah, I love the earlier well
Fury
yeah,
Road.
I like the Fury Road. I really did enjoy that. Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
I saw it in IMAX,
So good.
and it was loud.
Thanks to George.
I was the only one in the theater too. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Everything what you're absorbing, all the sound.
Blown back, yeah. Left was like, "Whoa, that was awesome."
That's funny.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Very good.
Good times,
Heather.
good
Heather.
times. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so sadly not a ton of nerdy geeky stuff because I just finished class last night for the semester.
Oh, congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. So yeah, so now I'm off for the summer and then I'll start up again in the fall. So hopefully my summer will be filled with all the things I've been missing out on.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yes. You can live a nice summer life.
A little nerdum life.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't even say that there's been any like movies or anything that I've watched that fall under a nerdum package. I basically have been watching this TV show Reba, and I've been cross stitching because I'm a 90-year-old woman.
That is an old one. That's an old jam. Where do you even get that? Tubi?
It's on Hulu.
Oh.
Really? Oh my.
Yeah, she's on Hulu. And can I just say, and it's fine if you want to like discredit me later, it's a really funny show. Like it's really clean and it's funny. Reba
I just love the mental image of you cross stitching and like just laughing. I just love it. I just love it
with my cats. I mean, come on! I am like right there.
You're like cross stitching like a cat mom thing or something, like just laughing, having a good time. Cats are looking at you like, man, what? She is weird, man. But yeah,
I am weird.
That's okay. So yeah, awesome. Anything else, Heather?
Yeah. I don't really think so.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
That's fine.
All
Yeah.
right, Todd,
Yeah,
bring us
sorry,
home.
everybody.
What have you been
All right.
up to?
All right.
Yeah,
I'll
save us. Save the podcast.
save us. Well, so last week was Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Yeah.
And so we had like a double header Mother's Day, so it was, it was just kind of fun hanging out and doing all that fun stuff. But Carla mentioned this last week in our Katina chat, and she's like, "Have you seen Three Body Problem?" I'm like, "No." And so I started, and now I don't like Heather or Carla. I like you, Heather. I don't like Carla.
Okay, good. Phew.
Yeah.
Woo.
It's the Davids. It's the two dudes from Game of Thrones, the kind of executive producers of Game of Thrones.
I'm out.
And Armand's like, I'm out. And so I believe this is the Netflix deal that sealed their deal with Lucasfilm, because they were supposed to do something, and KK's like, you can't be doing Netflix and this. And so she cut the ties, and this is this one. So it's science fiction. It's a science fiction show. And if you're familiar with like Westworld, or it's kind of have that vibe, there's a little virtual reality kind of new kind of stuff going on. So anyways, I'm like 3 episodes in, and I really enjoy it. It's really fun. There's a couple Game of Thrones alum in there that I'm like, oh yeah, I see what you did here. But yeah, it's intriguing. So I'm enjoying that. So that's pretty geeky. And then I got a troop coming up this week, so that's always exciting when you get the troop. So I was in a very much lull, and now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like trooping every week now or something. I don't know, but so that's super fun. But yeah, not too much else going on. I mean, obviously had to watch Alien, so I watched a little Alien this week as well to get prepared for it first. So that's keeping me busy. So but yeah, that's about it. So
Three Body Problem reminded me.
uh-huh.
I've been watching.
Okay.
Fallout.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic.
it's
Is
so
it not good? It's good.
Amazing. Yeah, you're
It's,
right. It's not good. It's amazing.
Right.
What the
Yeah.
heck? The Halo show is as good as this.
Ooh. So Fallout is based off a video game, Heather.
Yes.
You don't even have to watch the video game or play the video game. But it's so good. It's really good. Yeah.
I'm not done with it yet, but oh my goodness.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so this is where I have trouble with streaming, because like it's like I wish it was staged a little. I'm old school. I want the weekly, because then I can absorb it, watch it maybe again, and talk with friends and internet peoples, but like when you're streaming it all at once, Prime went with dumping it all at once.
Do that. I'm not done with it.
I know, but I couldn't stop, Armand. I couldn't stop. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh, I gotta get to work. I gotta go to bed. So, yeah, it's really good. It's similar to like, have you seen Last of Us, Armand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron, talking about Last of Us Part 1.
I just like the world building. I just really like the world building, and I immediately thought of, this is what I want BioShock to be if they ever make a BioShock TV show. Like, I just
probably will.
Oh my gosh, I just love the
Big Daddies.
Yeah, I just love the world building that they do, and a great cast. So, anyways, yeah, go see it again. We don't, Amazon Prime. I don't know. We're not sponsored by them, I promise, but it's really good. So. All right. Well, we got to wrap this up. I know. It's so sad, but thanks again for listening to another episode of WSTR Galactic Public Access. You can find us on the socials. Aaron's at Aaron Julian, Carla Marie Jack, Heather's at Hawk Awesome, myself at Tizad. We're part of the Red 5 Network, a wonderful network of hooligans and scum and villainy that you can check out there. And us at WSTR Media. We want to hear from you. So comment, tweet, rate us on Apple Podcast. If you give us a 5-star review, we're going to throw swag right in your face. Well, through the mail, but it's kind of in your face, So yeah, just give us a rating, share it. We'll love to share it and read it on an upcoming episode. Hey, speaking about episodes, we have a back catalog of 360 episodes, probably a couple more in the pipe there at podcast.wstrmedia.com. We got merch, store.wstrmedia.com. Get yourself clothed head to toe with WSDR swag. If you want to support us in a different way, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/WSTR Media. Thanks again for people hanging out in the YouTube chat. I'm sorry, I had fire alarms. I was trying to type and do all that as well as do all those things. It's hard sometimes, but we appreciate you so much. And you can catch us out at like 8:30-ish, livestream.wstrmedia.com. Armand, once again, thank you for coming on the show. Where can people find you, my friend?
Well, not on WSTR, but on the Syndicate Film and TV podcast.
Yes.
You can find me. You can find Todd on a few episodes. You can find Heather on an episode. You can find Aaron on many episodes.
Yes.
Movies mostly, TV shows here and there.
Yes.
Yeah, we like to dive right into what all these films are talking about, and some shenanigans all along the way, but it's a good time. You can find me at syndicate.com or on Instagram at syndicates. And if Aaron is so kind, he would link me in the show notes.
The show notes.
Right. You can find more of me there.
There you go. Carla's there too. You have Carla a couple.
Yeah. Forget. Yes.
Yeah. So all the WSTR folks have been on. We appreciate that. Yeah, we appreciate that so much. Yeah, it's great podcast. Definitely check it out. Yeah. What are you working on coming up? You want to plug anything? You want to?
What's coming out? I just released. What was the last one? Oh, Civil War, which just came out.
Oh yeah, that just came out.
Garland movie. Ooh, that was a doozy of a episode and a movie.
Mm.
But by the time this comes out, I would have released. Oh, what's the next one? Invincible Season 2.
Oh, the cartoon.
Yes,
Gotcha.
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, right. Go check out Amazon Prime right now.
That's the next one. Invincible.
Awesome.
Season 2.
Very good.
That's
Very
Tuesday,
good.
Which is
Gotcha.
already when this episode is Wednesday, right?
It comes out Monday.
Oh, Monday, tomorrow.
In your podcatcher, grab it tomorrow.
That's right. Hit subscribe. 5 stars.
Yeah. Yes. You know the drill. You know the drill. So well, thanks again, Armand, for coming on. It was a pleasure, or as Aaron likes to say, it was a hoot. So
it was a hoot. Muy,
it was a
muy.
hoot. Muy muy. Muy muy. Hello, boyos. Yeah. Hey, if you want to email us your best Jar Jar impression or your pneumonian impression, you can do that at mailbox@wstrmedia.com, or you can leave us a voicemail. Yes, your phone. You can call people on your phone, 630-557-WSTR. That's 630-557-9787. Heather is ready to take your call. She will take your call live and just be like, let's hear it. Let's hear it. What you got going on? So tell us what you think about Alien, or if you go see Phantom Menace in the theater, whatever, let us know.
Yep. Subject line: Jar Jar is my homeboy.
Darth Jar Jar, which Lego went there and is releasing a new Lego short with Darth Jar Jar coming up. So
yes,
the prophecy has been fulfilled. They're basically doing a what if in Lego Star Wars in a little movie. It's coming up on Disney Plus, brother. So, all right, next week, guess what? We're not going to be here. We're taking a break for Memorial Day. So you'll have to come back Thursday, May 30th. I almost said June. That's like a whole month away. May 30th. We're going to stay across the universe. I'm going to tell you right now, as I was preparing this year, 1984 is a magic year of film. So now we're going to look at the 40th anniversary. We're going there. We're going Star Trek, Episode 3, Search for Spock. We're going to be talking about that in 2 weeks. So get out your
Phasers.
phasers. What's their little
Communicator.
communicator? Thank you.
Data pad, datacom.
Communicator. Boop, boop.
Communicator. Yeah.
Communicator?
No, Star Wars has data pads. They have the communicator. Beep.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
the flip phone before flip phones were even.
Oh, those Trekkies. Well, I can't wait to talk about whales and stuff. I think that's Star Trek 3 with the whales.
No,
That's 4.
6.
No, 4 has the whales.
Where they go to San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I don't know. We got to watch it and find out. Well, that's what we're here for. Search for Spock.
Listeners
So
have to tell us who's right. So
yeah, right. Please. Oh man, space whales. Anyways, that's it. So we'll be here in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, come back. So enjoy your Memorial Day, all that fun stuff. America. So there's only one way to end this episode. Now this is podcasting. Woohoo!
hold on.
And-
And we're clear.
And we're clear.
And we're clear.
I